The wind carried the scent of dust and daisies across the open plains that evening when Clara stepped down from the old stagecoach, clutching the worn suitcase that held all she had left in the world. The sun dipped low behind the mountains, painting the sky in shades of gold and crimson, a color that matched the ache in her chest. She'd come to Willow Creek to escape the ghosts of her past, a past filled with loss, rejection, and a belief that she wasn't meant to nurture anything ever again. Clara had lost her husband to the mines, her unborn child in the fever that followed, and somewhere along the way, she'd lost faith in herself too. She'd taken a job as a school teacher, thinking it would keep her heart busy, her mind away from what it yearned for but feared most, love and belonging. As she walked toward the small schoolhouse on the edge of town, she noticed a man leaning against the fence, tall, broad-shouldered, with the rugged calm of someone who'd weathered storms and learned to stand steady through them. His name was Jacob Reed, the widowed rancher everyone in town talked about with respect and quiet sympathy. His wife had passed 3 winters ago, leaving him with 3 small children and a ranch that barely stayed afloat. They said he'd gone quiet after that, speaking mostly to his horse and the land. But now his steady brown eyes followed Clara as she approached, his hat tipping slightly in greeting. "You the new teacher?" he asked, voice deep but gentle. Clara nodded, unsure how to meet his gaze. "Welcome to Willow Creek, ma'am. My kids will be in your class." Lord knows they could use a bit of direction. There was a flicker of humor behind his words, the kind that only comes from someone used to balancing heartbreak with hope. Clara smiled politely, unaware that this man and his children would soon become the very heart she didn't know she was missing. The weeks that followed settled into rhythm. Lessons by morning, laughter and chaos by afternoon. Jacob's children, Emily the oldest at 8, Rose barely 6, and little Tommy, 4, were bright and wild like the wind that swept over the plains. They adored their father fiercely, but there was a quiet emptiness in their eyes when they spoke of their mother. Clara saw it, felt it, and though she tried to keep her distance, her heart betrayed her with every shared smile, every small hand that reached for hers. Jacob often lingered by the school fence when lessons ended, helping repair a broken latch, carrying supplies, or simply talking while the children played. He never said much, but when he did, his words carried weight, simple truths about life, love, and faith. Sometimes, he told her one evening as the sun dipped low behind the barn, you don't find family. Sometimes it finds you. Clara turned away quickly, afraid that if she met his gaze, she'd see something she wasn't ready to feel again. But the truth was, she already felt it. Every time little Tommy fell asleep on her lap during reading time, every time Rose brought her wildflowers and called her Miss Clara in that soft, hopeful voice, every time Emily proudly showed her a letter she'd learned to write, she felt it. The fragile, terrifying, beautiful stir of belonging, and yet each time she'd pull back, whispering to herself, I can't be a mother. Not again. One rainy evening, Jacob stopped by the schoolhouse. The roof leaked, and Clara had stayed late patching it up alone. He came in, soaked to the bone, holding an extra lantern. You shouldn't be working out here alone, he said, setting it down. She looked up from the table, startled, a strand of wet hair falling over her face. I'm used to being alone, she said quietly. His eyes softened, a long silence filling the space between them. You don't have to be. That night, as the rain drummed on the roof, they talked, really talked. About loss, about love, about the fear of opening one's heart again. Clara told him about her husband, the child she never got to hold, and the emptiness that had followed. Her voice trembled as she whispered, I can't be a mother, Jacob. I wouldn't know how anymore. He looked at her for a long moment, then smiled, a slow, warm smile that reached all the way to his eyes. That's all right, he said softly. I've got 3 calling you Mama already. The words hit her like sunlight breaking through storm clouds. She froze, tears spilling before she could stop them. Jacob reached out, brushing a tear from her cheek. They've been waiting for someone like you, and truth be told, so have I. His voice was low, steady, certain, the kind of certainty that steadies trembling hearts. In that moment, something inside Clara broke. Not the kind of breaking that destroys, but the kind that sets you free. The walls she'd built around her heart crumbled, and all that was left was truth. She realized that love wasn't about perfection or being ready. It was about showing up even when you were scared. It was about choosing to care again, to risk again, to live again. Weeks turned into months, and spring brought life back to the ranch. Clara moved into the Reed home, not as a replacement, but as a new beginning. The children adored her. Emily sought her advice on everything. Rose followed her everywhere, and Tommy couldn't sleep without her telling a story first. Jacob watched it all quietly, pride and peace written across his face. One evening, under a pink and golden sky, Jacob took her hand by the fence where they'd first met. "Clara," he said, "you gave us back something we thought we'd lost. You gave us laughter again." She smiled, her heart finally calm. "And you," she whispered, "you gave me a reason to believe again." As the children ran through the fields, their laughter echoing through the fading light, Jacob pulled her close and said, "Family isn't always made by blood. Clara, sometimes it's made by love." And in that golden hour, surrounded by warmth, laughter, and the whisper of the prairie wind, Clara realized she hadn't just found a home, she'd found a forever. If this story touched your heart, don't forget to subscribe to our channel for more powerful love stories from the Old West. Stories of hope, second chances, and the beauty of hearts that heal.